Hey everybody, happy Tuesday. I hope you've all had a great week. I want to share something with you tonight, particularly to those of you who are in ministry. This message is for you, for those of you, because as you know, if you are in ministry, which technically we should all be in ministry. So if you are a Christian and you're sharing the gospel with people, then you're in ministry as well. So if you don't hold an office or you don't publicly proclaim yourself to be in ministry, but you share the gospel with people, then you are still, in fact, in ministry. But this message is for those who are or consider themselves in ministry. So if you're in ministry, then you are fully aware of how heavy and weighty ministry can be, just due to the spiritual attacks that you get from the enemy, the opposition you meet from other people. It can just get heavy. But there is somebody in the Bible, lots of people in the Bible that can relate to that. But one that really inspires me, and a verse that really keeps me going sometimes when I feel when this call gets heavy, is found in Jeremiah. So Jeremiah is a prophet, and Jeremiah is given quite the message to give people, right? He's telling them, you've got to repent. He's telling them or forewarning them of the wrath of God and the punishment that God's going to bring on the people. And so the people are conspiring against Jeremiah. They're conspiring to take him out, to just take him off the board. They want to imprison him, and he does. He goes through all kinds of things in his book. But this particular part of his story is found in Jeremiah 12. So right before this, people are conspiring against him. And in Jeremiah 12, verses 1 through 11, Jeremiah is praying to the Lord, and he's basically saying what most of us have probably, if we've never asked God directly, we've at least thought it, and that is, why do the wicked prosper? God, why is it so hard for those people who are following you? And God responds to Jeremiah. And verse 5 in Jeremiah chapter 12. So I can't remember if I said the verses, and if I did, I may have said them wrong. Jeremiah 12, 1 through 4 is the verses where Jeremiah is praying. And in Jeremiah 5, the Lord responds to Jeremiah, and he answers Jeremiah's prayer of this, why, Lord? So Jeremiah is feeling the opposition. He's ready to give up. He's ready to let go of his calling from God and just set it to the side and just become like everybody else. And God has quite the unique response to him. Beautifully unique, as God does. This is in Jeremiah 12, verse 5. And God says, "If you have raced with men on foot, and they have wearied you, how will you compete with horses? And if in a safe land you are so trusting, what will you do in the thicket of the Jordan?" And so really, I want to encourage you tonight if you're in ministry. I really love the Message version of this verse. I think it gives a good idea of what God is saying here. So I'm going to read that. And no, I don't make it a habit to read the Message, but this is not for study anyway. But I think this verse in the Message is really beautiful. And so Jeremiah 12:5 in the Message version says, "So Jeremiah, if you're worn out in this foot race with men, what makes you think you can race against horses? And if you can't keep your wits during times of calm, what's going to happen when troubles break loose like the Jordan in flood?" And so, really, what God is asking is, how is he going to keep up as a worker for God? How is he going to keep up with that work if he can't handle what's already happened, the little bit of opposition that he's faced. And we know that as the book goes on, Jeremiah is, they come down hard on him. But God kind of gives him a challenge right here. And really, God is saying, there's a book by Eugene Peterson all about this particular verse. And in that book, he says something that's so profound that I think those of us in ministry need to hear and need to be reminded of often. And so what he tells Jeremiah, and what the author, Eugene Peterson, writes in his book, is he writes it this way. He says, as if God was speaking, he says, Jeremiah, are you going to live cautiously or courageously? Do you want to shuffle along with this crowd, or do you want to run with horses? How beautiful is that? If you know any little bitty thing about me, then you know I love and adore horses. And so, of course, this verse and this imagery of running with horses just really stands out to me. So we know through the rest of the book of Jeremiah and through Jeremiah's life what Jeremiah chooses, what he chooses. His life became his answer. He chose to run with horses and to live that life of being a courageous worker of God and stick to the ministry that God called him to and the task that God called him to. And although he was met with great opposition, and he went through quite a few things, he got the message out there, and he did what he needed to. So much so that the type of minister and worker for God he was, we know that in another verse, Jeremiah says that the word of the Lord was shut up like fire. It was like fire in his bones, and he couldn't keep it shut up. He had to speak it. And I have to think that maybe that was due to the decision that he made when God challenged him. He was like, Jeremiah, how are you going to keep going? How are you going to race with the horses, run with the horses, if you can't keep up right now with the men, or with the thing that's happening right now? How are you going to keep going? And I think I believe that his dedication in this moment, when he made the decision to run with the horses, that is part of what made him so passionate and made that word of the Lord feel like it was a fire shut up in his bones that he could not contain. He had to get it out. It had to come forth, because he was so passionate about it. And he made that decision to be that passionate and be that courageous and to stick with it. And so if you're in ministry, I would encourage you today to ask yourself that. Are you going to live cautiously or courageously? Do you want to shuffle along with this crowd, or do you want to run with horses? And, man, I just think it's a beautiful picture to think of. And I hope if you are in ministry and you're doing work for the Lord, stick with it, stay with the horses, and don't give up. When it gets heavy, when it gets weighty, just keep going, keep pushing, keep going forward, and hold on to that passion that you have, even when it's heavy, and hold your ground, stand your ground, friends. So happy Tuesday. I hope that this encourages somebody, and go give these few verses a read. It's really beautiful. Good night, friends. God bless you. I'll see you next time.